All right, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right. Think everything's working. Anybody else just like hold their breath before this starts? Just curious. It's another Saturday in the neighborhood. Saturday in the gaming neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Wouldn't you be mine? Won't you be your Trumpet's neighbor? Look at that. Trumpet, thanks for the gifted sub. Hobbs is the lucky winner. Boy, couldn't have picked a better guy. Good morning, everybody. Joe, Ryan West opened the doors again this morning. Joe, good to see you. Ryan, of course. Who's doing some roll call? Who's morning? Hope you got the cup of down before the stream. Oh, that light is ultra bright this morning. I don't know what's going on here. Harrigan, no worry about on the packing. He's packing heat. Packing heat. Jake, good morning to you. Nubis, afternoon. Farty, good to see ya. Tad, good to see ya. Skipped over Gabe, not to be overlooked by any means. Michael, Kodakin, Holland, good to see ya. Blake, thanks for the 5x5 check. William, what a good crowd today. William, good to see ya. Oh my goodness, Jeffrey is in the chat, probably making sure I don't talk about him and our interactions this past week about Delta Green. Hello, Jeffrey. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, Jeff. Orcus, what are you doing here? And did I say Wayne earlier? I think I did. I overlooked Wayne? I'm sorry, Wayne. Hey, man, I'm way up above. Good to see you, Wayne. Yeah, that's right. Sean Baby. Yes, I must open my friendly beverage for this morning's stream. I don't have a topic. Thanks for everybody. If you're new here, I'm Sean. I used to do a tabletop RPG podcast. I like role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games. If you're like looking for the RPGs that are computer-based, that's down the hall in your stream or your feed. Go check out one of those folks. If you are a board gamer, down the hall and to your left. So all tabletop role-playing games all day. If you are a D&D 5e player, welcome. We welcome D&D 5e players, D&D players of all kinds, shapes and sizes, if you will. Some of us are playing many other games. The chat is filled with game masters and players that have been promiscuous with their games and have dabbled a little bit in a little of every pond, I would say is probably safe to say there. If you are a card player, get out. Hey, Trumpet, you ever play Sheepshead? It's a real card player, let me tell you. Anybody else play Sheepshead? Rudy, be careful. So I was thinking about, I know there's been topics that I've thought about and said, oh, I should really talk about that. And then I get to the Saturday or Friday and I'm like, I don't remember what that was. And I didn't write it down. And I know some people have suggested it. That's okay. One hot topic I do maybe want to bring up, but I'm going to refrain from proposing it this morning. I'm going to turn it over to you and see if you have something that has just been itching to be discussed. Like what dramatic topic of discussion should we deal with? One idea, Blake says, has one of your characters gained or lost or changed faith, religion, and how did it go? Interesting. Has one of your characters gained, lost, or changed faith or religion? There's that one. Oh, games being banned from drive-through from Ryan West. Okay, all right. Let's see, Mike, bad GM habits was a hot topic in another stream. Well, the fact that you're bringing that up, Mike, is interesting. I like that. I'm glad you brought it up because you could say, well, I saw it in another stream. I don't need to see it again. But that's a good one. I like that one. We could put it to a vote too, right? Somebody suggests one and you want to that sounds like a good one. I second that motion. Very game master oriented, obviously. But that's okay. Players don't. Jeff, just because you don't game master, it's okay. It's okay. Because you have feedback on game mastery. Into the odd best game. Ooh, shots fired. Not sure. All RPGs should use cards. That should kick something off. Wow. Okay. Daggerheart. Talking Daggerheart amongst others. And that, does Wayne say cards as an initiative too? Because then you lump in Savage Worlds, Free League to some degree. I don't know a lot of people that use the Free League card system though. Just me. So the games being banned from drive-through, just to touch on the context of that from Ryan. Rebel Scum was banned a while ago, if I'm not mistaken, is my understanding. Like it was removed from drive-through RPG like a year or two ago. But it's suddenly bubbled up since somebody approached the designer at UK Games Expo. Is that my understanding? And also featured on Rascal. So maybe Rascal talked to somebody at UK Games Expo that's a designer, and that's kind of bubbled it up to the top. So if you're not familiar with that, Rebel Scum obviously has a little tinge of Star Wars in the game kind of thing, right? You play Rebels. But they purposely make it like in the game, I believe, I've seen a quote or screenshot that they make no qualms about it, that it is a political-based game. They end up, they call the opposing force the Republic so that you can punch Republicans, okay? So it is very much a political-based game. But then some people would say, well, every game's political. And then some people will say, hey, man, I don't want politics in my game, right? And then people say, well, if you're talking about this, it is politics. And they go, no, it's not. So there's that dilemma, which I don't really want to get into. But there's that piece. Now, at the same time, drive-through has also banned controversial products from controversial personalities in the hobby, right? To name a few. I think Pundits probably run into it. Venger has run into that. And somebody would say, well, we know, and their game, I don't know for sure why their games have been banned necessarily. Like, I don't know if it's lewd and lascivious stuff or those have political things in it as well and they just ban it. But hey, it's got to work both ways, I would imagine, right? So there's that. Yeah. And is drive-through like, do they have some, it's their platform. They've got to kind of filter what is on there. They can't make it all this cesspool of stuff, right? But how do you determine one over another, right? It's another one. So, I don't know. All kinds of all the stuff. Ryan says Star Wars still talked about, and that game isn't even made anymore. Okay. Whoa. Rebel Scum 2E. The enemy are explicit space fascists, and the game is explicitly anti-fascist. Yeah, well, so let's not talk about that stuff, because then I'm going to start seeing now we're throwing woke mob around and all this other stuff, and that is definitely not where I want to go. That Touchy subject. He. Indeed. Indeed. So I don't really want to, I don't know. I would say this. If it's drive-thru's platform, they get to say what's on it. Good or bad, it's theirs. I will say that. Like it or not. There's not much you can do. It's like saying, hey, Sean, you have a YouTube. You should feature everything. Like, you should have all kinds of points of view and all of this because, well, that's the way it should be. And I'm like, well, that's not true. This is my channel. Right? Yeah, but they have other things that are on. You have things on your channel that are controversial. Why won't you cover my controversial thing? It's my channel. I mean, frankly, our drive-through RPG doesn't have to justify shit. Sometimes, as far as So, but it's on itch. It's on itch. Probably gotten more publicity in the last 2 weeks than it has the entire lifespan of that game. There are literal hentai games on drive-through RPGs, so they can't be too hard on lewd content. I bought Kinks and Cantrips, print on demand. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate it, Trumpet. Look, I will put this out there. Okay, I'm going to put this out there because I think it's warranted because some people might not wholly know who I am and what I'm about. Because I think that's important. I mentioned being a positive force in the tabletop RPG. I can have a hint of cynicism. Phil McClory, I don't think, is in the chat, but he knows what I'm talking about recently. Him and Wayne Peacock. So I'm not flawless. And I have been wrong before. But I will say this. Man, I don't care who loves who. Okay? I don't care. Let me reframe that. It does not matter to me. Like, if LGBTQ, whatever. It does not impact my daily life. Right? That's fine. I don't have any objections with that. I don't have any moral high ground. I'm not ultra religious. Also having said that, if you are a Christian, Muslim, whatever you worship, that's fine. No problem. Okay. I would say I'm pretty progressive in mentality. I've made comments to folks that I know that are a little bit more conservative than I am. And say, hey, like, it's not really warranted, right? Trying to get out of the 1960s boomer, weird things. I know who I am in the world. So if somebody's coming here and going to be throwing the woke word around as a bash to everything, somebody could say that, well, Sean's woke. And, whatever. They could think whatever they want. I think some people take a particular stance and it doesn't make sense to me sometimes. So I'll leave it at that to some degree without getting really into the weeds, without saying, well, tell me, Sean, where do you stand on this political, social hot topic? Where do you stand on this? But I put that out there because what I don't want is somebody to come here to think that I have a particular stance on something that isn't what I stand for. And they come in here thinking like this is the pundit channel. It's not. So do I see both ends of the spectrum being pretty off the wall at times? Absolutely. I would say I'm pretty moderate in my ways. So there you go. So if people want to come in here and start slinging mud, I ain't got time for that shit. And most of the people in the chat know this. And they may not all, I'm not saying that the people in the chat agree with me. I don't want to speak for them. But I think that's kind of what brings us together, right? We all kind of understand the world and some of the goods and bads and the hypocrisy and the irony. It's not lost on many of us. Sean, you need to review the obscure games by insert obscure RPG Scandinavian murderer. Okay, well, I know who that is. There's Brett. Brett, I'm wearing your favorite shirt today. Sean, having a cynical approach sometimes. Say it isn't so. I know, right? Good to see you, buddy. If we're doing controversial topics, let's talk about how everyone secretly loves the Palladium system better than all others. Thanks for the... Hey, that's who we're, right? Thanks, Michael. Me too. I still run Palladium. Be as positive force. Motto. As a moderate queer guy, thank you. Okay, well, there you go. All right, okay. Love that shirt. Multiple models. Okay, so there's that, okay? And sometimes with text, sometimes people throw things in text and it's a joke, but I don't know that, right? Some of them I do know. Like if somebody I know, like Wayne, for example, is in the chat, he throws something out there as more tongue-in-cheek, I will know because I know who Wayne is. I've played with him multiple times. I've actually met him in person at a convention along with some other folks in the chat. Jeff, Gabe, Harrigan, Michael, even the ones that have gamed at Gaming and BS online, right? Kind of, maybe we haven't met face-to-face in the flesh world, but sometimes I don't know, right? What people do in their personal lives. So anyways, there's that. One of the other things I had mentioned, I'll throw out there. So you guys kind of put that out there. One of the other things I wanted to talk about at some point is AI. Yeah, baby. Artificial intelligence. The shit that's going to come to like self-realization and they're going to hunt down Brett. I think it's a topic that we didn't talk about more. I think there's this big taboo in our hobby, and I know it's a hot topic, but you know what? That I don't care about because to me, there's plenty of other stuff that there are probably bigger hills to die on. Maybe some of you might say, no, that is the hill to die on because of all the negative components to it. I don't know. I don't see it that way. Yeah, like AI for sure. So there was that thing, right? Right. There's Brett. He knows they're coming for him. They got Brett's number. Well, when all hell breaks loose, I'll tell you this: when AI does finally come to its own, there's no better person I would want to hang around with than Brett because he's a survivor. He knows how to hunt. He knows how to live off the land. He doesn't need electronics. Like I want that guy. Like Walking Dead, I'm with Brett. Clan Brett. Okay? Just saying. I don't know about the rest of you. Like this keyboard puncher needs Brett to like, hey man, I'm all on board, dude. You want to get that deer? All right, let's make this happen. I need to eat. Shawnee needs some food. What do you need me to do? Haven't met yet. That's true. Nubis, we've met. You've been in a chat. We've played a game together to some degree. Topic. At what point does game design discourse become so dense that it has overlooked the soul of play? Ooh, can you give me an example, Orcus? That's pretty deep. Hoos, the worst thing about AI is the corporate manifesto to squeeze all the money out without regard to people. Ryan, end of the world. Brett, team up. Everybody needs a buddy who has a bug out bag. Yeah, you know the deal. We should start wargaming fighting AI so we are prepared for the Skynet. See how AI gets things started? So if I put this out into there and said, do you use AI for your games? One, if you do, are you willing to admit it in a chat? Because some people are like, let's admit it. Our hobby, you put out something that is like, wait a minute, I don't necessarily agree. Get ready for pitchforks and torches and pitchforks, right? Some of it may be warranted. I don't know if AI is. I've seen data analysts that have been like, I've seen a tweet or an update on Blue Sky saying like, I'm sitting in a room at work and they're talking about using AI for data analysis. I don't care what they have to say. I'm beyond that. AI is trash. There's no way I'm going to get on board with that. And I'm like, wow, okay, interesting take. Admit to using AI for art, for running games. Ooh, how come you don't get that commission there, Hoos? Right? I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Allow me. Do I have your permission? So you don't, what about the artist you could have paid to create that art for your game, Hoos? Fiverr, go on Fiverr, pay somebody like $5, get some art, right? Isn't that the deal? Come on, man. Hoos, somebody ban Hoos. See, you could get, at least for me, you could hopefully gain some sarcasm since I can put inflection and different tone in my voice. Ryan, I use AI for my games. I fully embrace AI for all its evils. Brian, I'm sorry, there's an island of people that use AI, and we may have to send you there. Brett says, I used AI for gaming as well. Look at these. Oh, man. Test Trekkie, I've used AI to generate character art for Cyberpunk character art generation for one shots. Hoos, I don't charge my players, so... Well, maybe that's the problem, Hoos. Maybe that's the problem. And I have no skill at art, so... Brett says, you can Hoos... You ban Hoos, you're out of the clan Brett survival plan. Wow, look at that loyalty. Lines are being drawn, folks. Harrigan says, I use AI art. I've also commissioned several hundred pieces of work from artists over the years and would for anything I published. Notice the difference. I'm hearing a lot of, hey, here's what I'm hearing. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And for the record, I've used AI for art. Okay? There goes my camera again. Every time I hold up my hand, it's like, you want to do this? I'm like, no. But I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, for those of us that use AI art, we don't have a monetary thing behind it. In other words, we're not using AI art to produce something to put out for monetary gain. Is that fair? So, and some I'm gathering is if you're using AI art for your home game, that it would not be any different than you scouring the web to grab something off that's probably not licensed for you to use anyway, and just printing it off and giving it to your players. In other words, you would not pay for commissioned art for your own home game, and so therefore you use AI art because you wouldn't pay for assets for your home game, right? It's kind of like, well, the people that pirate would never buy the game anyways, so the people that are publishing that game don't actually lose any money, which is the argument, right? Piracy is bad because the publisher doesn't make any money. That is a whole nother discussion. But there's some similarities. Mike, I've used AI to get names or simple backgrounds for NPCs. Usually it's a starting point and then I add or modify things from there. Jeff, I've been using AI to create character art for our Delta Green game. Since it's a high-def game, we can create new characters quickly. Well, we'll see, Jeff. We'll see. I feel like this island better be a volcano, and I don't want to be Hank, Scorpio, maybe Dr. Evil. Orcus Dorcas example, any exhaustive social media thread, 20-plus deep debating story versus setting versus system, defining what makes an RPG. Oh, I see. So you want to go back to the days of the Forge. That's what you're telling me. Tim says, whether you get in on board with AI, it's here and it's not going away. Period, for sure. Although I have spoken to, I think I mentioned this on stream one time. I work in the professional people business. And one of those professional people is an AI architect. And he's running stuff on his own. He's done research, obviously, and he has to look at that as a tool for corporate to utilize. And some will say, well, it takes jobs. right? Takes jobs away. Is he going to put that technology in there and it's going to take jobs away? Because God forbid that the automotive industry is all still labor intensive, right? Everybody on the line, right, has never had any issues. People buy cars, right? Because if that's the argument, that's a lot. So I don't use AI because it steals people's jobs. Then we should be living in caves, bonking people over heads. Not bonking people over heads, but, then we got to go live with Brett, Hunter, Sean Gatherer, right? Like, but to Tim's point, so when I was to my point, talking to this AI person, and he's like, with the power that comes with AI, potentially, kind of going and setting it to do something, it could potentially go, okay, it told me to do this. Sean told me to do this, so I'm going to do this. And if I'm smart enough, I'm going to keep doing that, but I can't do it with what I just have. So I'm going to go and get these other resources that I'm also connected to continue to do this at either a faster scale or a more elevated scale, right? And if that happens, and it keeps going, it's like, well, I don't have enough power yet, and I want to get it quicker, so I'm going to go and use these resources and pull them over and continue to do this. Whether it's like decryption or whatever it is, nefarious reasons, could be anything. And he's like, I don't know, at some point, some of this stuff at the consumer level may go bye-bye, or there may be regulation around it because they just can't have everybody being able to use this at scale. That's also another debate. Shambot says, I have yet to use AI for any of my games. Yet, to be fair, I have used fair use stock photos. Is that any different? Well, maybe. Harrigan says, I've deployed several AI technologies at work. Farty, I used AI to develop the Delta Green one-shot we played at BSRCon. Oh, interesting. So now Farty's like putting himself out there to say, I actually used it to create a scenario, a one-shot. So now we've gone from, I'm going to use art, but he's not selling it, right? I know now, I'm pretty sure Farty is not selling it, right? He's not taking it. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I'm going to guess he's not. Because that may be the line, right? Has anybody used it to play a game? I fired it up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to see if this thing can run a Delta Green game. And I had mixed results. It would not, in a tabletop game in Delta Green, you call for sanity checks. And sometimes the game master will forget. It's in the heat of the moment. Jeff's character sees something. If you're viewing it from the outside, you go, oh, I'd totally call for a sanity check on that. Game master might overlook it. I've done it with Harrigan and some of the other folks that have played in some of my Delta Green games. Oops, that's a good idea. Yeah, of course. Hey, sanity check. And sometimes players will remind the GM, if I were you, I'd call for a sanity check. And there was a couple of rules that the Delta Green, the AI would not remember. It would had something with character gen that didn't make sense. Now, Arc Dream Publishing, if they hear this and that probably pisses them off, right? Because how does AI know what Delta Green is and how did it acquire that information, right? So there's that debate. But I assure you, I buy a butt ton of Arc Dream Publishing stuff, okay? And it's not going to replace. I'm not going to have the AI agent run my Delta Green game on Sunday with Jeff and the crew. But somebody would say, oh, Sean, you're evil. As a matter of fact, I may lose subs to this. If people subscribe to this and they're like, oh, Sean's on the level and all this, and then all of a sudden I'm talking about this, they may be like, I'm out. Bye. Mic drop, gone. Right? Brett says, the published art we had in my Avalon book was all done by an artist and we paid them. I wouldn't use it for publishing. It seems as though we have some very definitive lines. AI okay for this, AI not okay for that. Yeah, AI in my camera is rebelling for sure. Harrigan, note what Tim is saying. It's not worth paying careful attention to. This is akin to the Industrial Revolution. Jeff, good to see you. Walking. I've never knowingly used AI for gaming art. Knowingly. Grin. Blake says never used AI for playing, running, designing, or publishing. So Blake has defined the box. There's a lot of stuff that's outside of that box that I don't know. Not to say that Blake's using it for anything else. Harrigan says the shitty, but is the ethics, the lack of regulation, artists' work used to train everything without compensation. The training is the big deal. I listened to a podcast recently. It was an episode, and it's about creators. It's Colin and Samir. If you don't know them, they're big YouTubers, and they talk to big YouTubers about their business and their origins and what they do and what they cover. And it's the creator economy is their kind of focus. And they interview big YouTubers. Mr. Beast has been on there multiple times. If you don't know who Mr. Beast is, like you're living under a rock. But my point is that one of the individuals mentioned it was a venture capitalist, the head of LinkedIn, one of the founders of LinkedIn. I think he was on there. But what he had said, and especially about the training of AI, which was intriguing, was how now I'm going to butcher all this. I'm not saying that. I'm like summarizing what the idea, what he was trying to convey. And I don't know if I agree or not. But one would say, how do you as a person understand different things? How do you create different things? How do you publish a game? And someone would say it's from playing other games and viewing those, watching TV, consuming things, education, books, media, sound, audio, and then you create something else. And we often don't take everything we learn and provide attribution. So he would say AI does that. So if we took a person to learn everything on the internet, how does that equate? Now, I'm not saying it's a 1-for-1 or if that makes sense or it doesn't make sense, but it is through like that because AI is AI. It's not a person, right? And so how does that fit into things? Like he's justifying, it understanding if we were to give it a prompt and to like create context around it, how would that differ than if it were an actual person? And then somebody would say, well, Sean, the big difference is it's the actual person. Who says, I've spent hours and hours looking for the right art with the right aesthetic for a game. Now I spend minutes and minutes to tell AI what I want. Blake says, though I have used Google to search this for RPG research, so indirectly used AI? Right? It gets really gray really fast. Brett, if anyone has ever pulled an image from the internet for their home game that they never paid for, you did AI with a manual transmission. Hoos, it is a shame that AI is not being used to free the people over making a certain class of a-holes rich. Oh, yeah, the old capitalism argument there. Tim, people need to pay attention to AI. All remote work and many other jobs are going to go away. Mass unemployment and economic transformation may be coming. And Harrigan even says, right, it's at scale, Brett. Yeah, for sure. Orcus, sure, but then the morality debate instantly shifts from the monetary and rights argument to those whose issues are the potential environmental concerns. There's really no solid foundation currently. Nubis says, I use Gen AI at work during coding. I've used image gen, but quickly started hating it. Okay, for character portraits, I use Perplexity instead of web search for research. AI is conditionally useful, in my opinion. Test Trekkie says AI is now starting to run into the issue that it's also starting to reiterate on itself in terms of learning models, meaning it's starting to get a garbage in, garbage out scenario. If you haven't watched the episode on, what's his name? Oh, Jesus. I don't know, Sean. You tell us. Hold on, I'll tell you. It's John. He's one of the Johns. I don't know why I can't remember it. John Oliver. If you haven't watched John Oliver's most recent episode, it's on YouTube. Go check it out. He talks about AI slop, right? It's the new term, I guess. AI. You guys heard about this? AI slop? Farty says, no, not selling it. Confirms the scenario he came up with. I came here for gaming talk, and this guy's talking about AI and cats. I haven't mentioned cats yet. Clickbait, am I right? Right. Right. I came here for Sean and ended up with Professor GM. Oh, God. Farty, to be fair. Letterkenny, to be fair. I didn't write the scenario. I used it to help fill in details, backgrounds, etc. The story was mine. Okay. Good. Thank you for the clarification, sir. Nubis Detwiller definitely hates AI, as do many authors for good reason. Yes. Not going to leave the channel because of AI, but you need to drink vanilla Coke. Come back to us. Hey, everybody, if you like this, give me a like or subscribe if you would be so kind. There's my shill. My shill? It's not my shill. My self-promotion. I feel like you're discussing things openly, Sean. If someone was going to drop a sub because of a discussion, they've got something else going on. Well, for sure. Well, wait, hold on a second. I want to dwell on this for just a second. Ryan, you're a good person, and I appreciate you. But the internet would probably disagree with that statement. Or at least many people. I stopped paying for Midjourney to use in my home games because it's a tool built on the stolen work of artists. There's Blake. I knew Blake would get to it. Thanks, Blake. Yeah, if you're not an AI, click like. But what is human scale? What is a human scale? Well, that's a good question, I guess. Oof. Tim says, whenever a major technology comes along, there's always a group of people that get screwed over. This time, that group might be all of us. I've been reading the book Robots of Gotham. It's interesting and about AI. Nick, good to see you. I've used AI a ton for small and big things. AI wrote my resume in like 10 minutes. Converted an old AD&D module to Shadowdark rules, random encounter tables, background art, portraits at NPCs, brainstorming stuff. I've generated hundreds of thousands of D&D portraits, images over the past few years. It's improved an amazing degree. Kristen, good morning. Sean, and think of a name, opens up ChatGPT to ask who it is. Yeah. I don't know. It's here to stay. The Pandora's box is open. What other industries have been like totally evolved around technology? Automotive industry, the printing press, interchangeable parts with, firearms. Right? What was his name? It did those. You start with a P. Telecom. Yeah. Cell phones, right? For sure. File transfer stuff. All the technology protocols. Rail. Yeah. I mean, block video distribution. It's hard to stand, for me personally, it's hard to stand on a mountain of AI that says, it's terrible, I'm not going to use it, it has no place in this world, it's an abomination. And there's tons of other things that have come around that could also be seen as an abomination. We're just not in, the 1700s. Many of the people at work use it for translations, which I'm totally okay with. Yeah, and that's like, well, I'm okay with it for this. I'm not okay with it for that. What magnets that work? Should have stayed with Betamax. Pesky VHS was our downfall. I agree with that, Blake. Damn it. Wasn't it Sony that really pushed that? How do we explain quote, how do I explain to a foreigner how this piece of government legislation uses? Unquote. Sure. Cool. Right. Hey, remember when all the same tech companies told us that VR and the metaverse would change everything in our daily lives? Nubis, Google Translate sucks for translation, so that's totally fair. Zeal, good to see. I used to generate fast Oracle lists aimed at specific topics in my TTRPG, some good and some not, but a big list helps generate my own ideas. Harrigan says the scary bit is when it is inventing, and we aren't. I don't want to play in that RPG setting. There's going to be a big meat bag rising. This is all seen in like science fiction novels, man. Dystopic. Like, right? The Matrix. We got to go to Zion, man. Rise up against the machines. Are we totally effed? I mean, the Amish exist. We could go live with them, I guess. Well, true, right? Not everybody's embraced modernity. Their colony didn't go well in Starship Troopers, though. Oh, God, here we go. Shambot, the automobile completely removed people from the road and turned it into no man's zone. We used to share the road. That would have been my grandfather's call to arms against the automobile. Dude, if you haven't ridden in a frickin' in a what the hell is it called? Oh, in a Waymo? Why I couldn't answer that. If you have not driven in a Waymo, dude, it is crazy. Crazy. If you don't know what Waymo is, it's self-driving cars. They've competed. Now, Tesla's got self-driving cars out there. Waymos are way better. It's been proven. Tesla, yikes. Depending on the variation of Amish, some have computers in their brains, so they're not pure. Or in their brains, in their barns. Oh, interesting. And what about the tools? Are they all using hand tools? Some do, maybe some don't, right? I don't know. I am not Amish. I am Amish ignorant. Sorry, Amish folks in the chat. Because of the inequities in our society, eat the rich could be brewing. Krista says a funny thing, and see, this gets really, like, it goes from, hey, if you're in the RPG hobby, we all got to rise up and squash AI, man. It's terrible. It's the worst thing that's ever been invented. It's just this freaking thing in the world. It's an abomination. But it's like goes further, right? And it's probably where they're coming from, right? It's coming from way over here and going into RPGs. Where we see that, where Dennis Detwiller will verbally say, his very strong opinion on it. Positive force for sure. Waymo. What happens when all the creators that are used to train AI are gone? AI will be trained on an increasing similar set. Enjoy videos of the parking lots where the Waymos go, all honking at each other. Oh, that's funny. Ironically, AI will inevitably increase the value of high-quality handmade art. There's a glass half full guy, right? Bookstores, right? The decimation of bookstores. What killed those? I don't know what you're talking, Sean. We got a Barnes & Noble in our backyard. We do, too. We've got one of them flagship stores. But, Walden Books, gone. Right? Borders, gone. It wasn't, too many people writing books. Many Amish houses will have phones outside of the house in a cold, uncomfortable spot so that they can call 911. Oh, interesting. Hey, reading aid. We're talking about a little bit of AI today because we didn't have a topic. So Gabe says Barnes & Noble's coming back and now turning a profit, part of the renaissance of physical media possession. Good to know. But it's not there, right? Well, let me reframe that. It's not what it used to be. And will it ever? But to Gabe's point, and even to Nick's, like, is that the thing? Like, that's the novelty. I want to go and get a physical book. I want to go to a bookstore and hold it. And I want to buy it from there. So if I were to buy something crafty, 3D printed, I have not ever really been blown away by 3D printing. I've seen it. I've seen some things like, oh, that's a cool Cthulhu dice tower. Wow, that'd be cool to print it. But will it get better? Probably. But somewhere it's having to come up with something. Some here are old enough to remember that inception of Photoshop was going to destroy traditional photography and replace the skill and artistry of photographers. Oh, there you go. Yeah, for sure. Rest in peace, Walden Books' disappearance heralded death of malls. Yep. Michael hit it right on the head. Malls don't survive anymore because Walden Books was put out of business. Bam. Say KB Toys, too. I worked at Walden Books, though, my time in college. See, Brett is like... Brett saying that is like his parents saying, I used to go to, I used to shop in Woolworths. Still want to play and run, eat the Reich. Okay. So long, third space, the mall. Nobody's told me that they've played a tabletop RPG with AI as the GM. But there's always going to be I'm going to run a game with my home group. Like, there is a inherent component of you and I buying RPG books, running games. Okay, well, I can't, I've played with, like I said before, Sunday is the first game I'm playing face-to-face outside of a convention game in freaking 5 years. That's crazy. And I haven't lost my mind, and I haven't been out of the hobby. I've just playing with people all over the world, which is fantastic. Hey, note to people, technology helped do that. It's all over the place. It's hard to just sit back and go, the entire thing's terrible. Cars are terrible. Yeah, they're cheap and I can get anywhere. And oh, by the way, now we're not using as much carbon emissions because now we got electric cars. That's better, right? So would we have gotten to electric cars if we had, combustion engines that effed up the atmosphere? I don't know. Probably not. Brett says he had to walk uphill both ways just to get to his local mall so I could work at Walden Books. Yeah, see? In the snow, by the way. 20 feet of snow. Right? Just like Dorcas said. Like a good Californian. And Brett didn't have shoes until he made some out of newspapers. See, you guys all know it. Started playing Starfinder with Alexa. What? Only lasted a few minutes. Didn't feel right. Playing in a D&D campaign, and the DM is using a Foundry module called Mook AI to run monster movement and actions. Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. AI might find cures to all diseases. Yeah, so let's think about some of those things. Now, I know we're supposed to be RPGs, but AI is such a hot topic, and then it gets like, it goes from here to like, whoop, hey, let's cure all diseases. See you, Joe. I don't know, man. I get the argument. Let's just say this, though. I'm not beyond understanding the individuals that are very nervous, afraid, ticked off, feeling violated because their stuff got stolen. That's easy for you to say. Your freaking job, Sean, doesn't rely on it and it hasn't been stolen yet. My days are ticking. Like my job, I'm just hoping I can get to retirement before I'm phased out. Like fingers crossed. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. Some people will say, no, Sean, your career is good. You're good. We need it's a people business. It's a people thing. Well, it is, but there's some very operationally based things that may not require a person for me. Didn't somebody build an engine that used water as a fuel a long time ago? But where's that money in that? Where's the money in that? Yeah, okay. Steam! Bring it back, man! Steampunk! I won't be able to afford the cure if AI takes my job. Well, if you're in the Star Trek world, you won't have to worry about it. Harvard graduation class just reported the highest unemployment in its history. 25% of those kids were unemployed at graduation. I have a whole nother topic about college. That is a whole nother thing. That sucks. These later generations, man. Oof. We thought some of us had it rough in Gen X. How weird is that a technology can be used to literally save lives, but we're all being pushed to use it to read and write email for us. I'm a teacher. I'm becoming obsolete. The kids tell me I don't have to learn anything anymore. I can find it on my phone. I'm frightened. AI will be disrupt jobs everywhere, so not completely optimistic about AI at all. Need to know what that Harvard class was studying, like those kids getting into coding? Bad idea. Yeah, that's the thing, right? One of the bigger concerns about AI is that a number of people are using it to think for them. AI is powerful if you have the cognitive base to empower it. There are also a load of industries that need disruptions. I read an article the other day that said learning coding was a worse idea for employment than a face tattoo. Oof, I got things to say about that. No offense, but too many teachers are trying to teach students to beat AI versus to use it to make them smarter. There is a vast amount of conversation around this thing because it touches so much. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a teacher. I've gone to college, but I never graduated. Well, that's no wonder Sean's an idiot, right? But I'm like, I don't know if the institutions that have been around for, 1820, first university in the United States established 1714, whatever. How much has that changed in what they're teaching, how they teach it? Like, there was somebody that just, like, they were on a video that showed off their research paper to get, a PhD or a master's, and they didn't write any of their papers. And some point say, well, don't hate the player, hate the game. Is college there to teach you to learn something, or is it to teach you how? Is it there to teach you something, or are you there to learn? Like, learn how to learn? Well, Sean, I certainly don't want my doctor, my surgeon, to have written all his papers or her papers and thesis and gone to med school on AI. Yeah. Oof. It's absolutely going to create generations who are relying on using AI to function. What happens when that becomes a tiered payment service? Can't beat it. It will be ubiquitous everywhere. It will be utility like energy. Some early research suggests that AI use decreases critical thinking. Assuming that the line of research is accurate, that's a scary proposition. How many remember directions, phone numbers? Most don't. The Xers. It's interesting that I'm an Xer, full disclosure, and it's an interesting one because we are probably seeing. And I'm not saying millennials aren't seeing change. That's not what I'm saying. Or Gen Z or whatever aren't seeing change. They definitely are. They've definitely encountered a lot of different things, and they do it at certain levels in their lives, right? Pandemic, for those of you that have had high school kids, middle school kids, children going through the pandemic, like who would have ever in the world thought that would have happened in our lifetime? And as adults and Xers, it's different because we're not them. We're not their age. We have certain maturity. We've withstood other things. But Xers are seeing like, hey, I had a phone number, things were analog, and now there's the internet and AI and all this other stuff. Where some folks like my nephew, who's obviously quite a bit younger, has kind of grown up in the internet age. So when we kind of poke fun at like, hey kids, remember when, you don't know this, but get on a bike and ride outside or whatever. Like there's shots that we take at different generations, but it is an interesting one to be part of X specifically, just because, I'm not saying that millennials or Gen Z, again, haven't seen change. And I don't know, like, the speed of that change. Like, they're still young yet, right? Wait until they're, like, our age, and then they could say the same thing I'm saying right now, which is, do you remember the days of this? My mantra at work since 2020 has been that we'll augment our people with AI, not replace them. Better, stronger, faster. Steve Austin's as far as the eye can see. But you also have to say less. Right? Just don't need as many. And people cost money. Well, Sean, so does AI. Well, yeah. But every time there's been an evolution within our system, the big thing when people want to, like when there's dire issues with revenue, you got to make cuts. People aren't cheap. Shifting cognitive focus. I'm returning to university teaching in the fall after being away for 3 years. Apparently a lot has changed. I'm definitely a learn how to learn professor. Gabe teaches, right? Thank you for chiming in, teachers. Thanks for teaching, by the way, at any level. You guys should be commended on that all the time. When I teach an English course this fall, I'm going to try analog writing in the classroom predominantly. Get them to think, get them to debate, get them to critical thinking. Like, why is it this way? What are they getting at? What are they trying to evoke, right? And I know the arts is a real interesting one. But the people with liberal arts degrees, the reason they're kind of treasured is because they've got a diverse kind of outlook to understand some of those things, right? And I think we've already kind of poo-pooed liberal arts folks, right? Like, liberal arts degree. Phew. Okay, not comp sci, not engineering, right? But there's a lot of things that come from those individuals, as long as it's things that they've learned and absorbed and have kind of transformed their way of thinking in a constructive manner, I guess. We as a people need to seriously consider the balance of the things that we create. In the end, we are the most dangerous tool on the planet. Yeah. The road to hell, right, is paved with good intentions. Talking with my mom yesterday, I talked about her Jima, who lived to be 105 through 2 world wars and the Depression, and the amount of change she witnessed and how it's moving even faster. That's the other thing. Like they experienced, like Jima experienced change, but not at the pace that we're experiencing it. You know what's really cool? Person-to-person RPGs, bloody awesome stuff. It is. And I think that'll never change. Like, that's the, hey, let's gather around the fire and talk and share stories and convey those things, you know, down from one generation to the next. And we play RPGs. It's analog, pen, paper, and dice. It's a lot of reason why some of us don't play computer games. But you know, the funny thing is, you can still play tabletop RPGs and computer games. I know, it's crazy. Hey, some people have played Baldur's Gate, like, to death. But guess what? Every week they're playing a tabletop RPG. Or every week they're buying a new tabletop RPG that they probably aren't going to play. But they buy it. They're consumers. They put it on the shelf. We love the tactile bookshelf and the, hey, I got my books. Got my book right here, man. Got my book right here. Got my book right here. Hey, it's all right here. But it may become more rare as generations come through and are like, dude, what's a book? Morning, Victor. Coming in on the hot and heavy topic of AI. And now it's kind of diverged into everything other than RPGs. But it's a topic that's a hotbed in RPGs. And then when you talk about it in a social environment, it can get all over the place. And rightfully so. Right? It's bigger than just RPGs. Teachers and medical professionals are probably the most important people in a society, in my opinion. Grab 2 fingers of scotch, Victor. It's been a heavy chat. Yeah. Should mention here my honorific is Dr. Tess Trekkie, PhD in the biological sciences, and I've taught at the university level. Students these days are functionally less scientifically literate. Thank you for the feedback. Thanks for teaching again. The in-person experience, even through virtual sessions, is so awesome. The ability of RPGs to get folks talking and plugging into each other's lives is amazing. You don't need to tell me, brother. I don't need to tell anybody here. Like, it's just, it is. It definitely is. That's what we love the hobby. Dude, even if AI takes over as a game master, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not going to be the same. I don't think. It's just not. It's just not. For us, it's not. The younger generation, whole different ballgame, man. It may just be their thing. That's it, right? It's just like our great-grandparents loved horses. I don't know. They're gone, great-great-great-grandpa. We got these things called cars. I don't know. Love tech, but saying you can look up any info does not help people think critically. You need to know some stuff in order to manipulate ideas and be critical. You know, I got to bring up, I'm going to call it my nephew. He's a good kid. You know, much like some folks, we're not perfect and not going to dump on him specifically, but he's about, I think he's going to be 30. Okay. So that's the generation. And I find that there's things that he'll hit me up for. So for example, recently he's like, hey man, can you help me set up a Wi-Fi extender? Okay. He lives behind his mother's house and his mother has internet. And, you know, he wants to piggyback off that. Now, Sean has never used a Wi-Fi extender. If I set up routers and switches and all that stuff, of course I have. I've actually got formal, like 2 college courses under my belt with subnetting and, you know, IP, TCP IP and routing protocols and things of that nature. But it's been a while. But I'm that guy, right? And so, of course, he hits me up because I'm the tech guy of the family. But I'm thinking to myself, dude, go Google it. Go Google it. That's the first thing I'm going to do because I haven't set one up. So I'm going to look at your gear and go, okay, here's the equipment. How do I extend it? Da-da-da, right? So before I even do anything, just like, and part of me, personally, I'm an Xer. So I had to figure out everything. I was a latchkey kid. Parents were always gone. So I didn't have a choice. My independence is probably can be a shortcoming of mine personally. Like, I won't ask for help because I'll just feel compelled to go figure it out. I don't want to bother somebody, which isn't always the best. But to me, it's kind of like, teaching kids how to go and figure things out is probably a really big thing. But if they just say, well, AI can teach them, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing if they understand how to follow those instructions, look up a YouTube video and go, oh, this is how it works. Okay. Oh, it's not going to work for mine because mine isn't exactly the same. So how do I adapt to my use case? Brett says, all my best friends came from RPGs. That's a statement. That should be on a shirt. Thanks for the shirt idea, buddy. I'll give you some royalties. No, I won't, because I'm going to steal it just like AI. Heyo, full circle. Bam, boom. Mic drop out. Suck it, Brett. Wow, that turned dark. I'm not playing with AI because I don't want Skynet to know how weird my responses will be when threatened with minor obstacles by technology. AI could make RPGs in person more possible. Imagine running a game with someone from Japan, Russia, etc., and they don't speak English. With real AI translation, that will be possible. That'd be great. YouTube just rolled out translations. I could launch this in a different language. Now, somebody would argue that the translation is going to be not one for one. There is a difference between that. Mr. Beast is huge. And one reason other than just his audience and what he does is he actually releases videos in native languages. He gets interpreters and hires them to do the overdubs for his videos. He doesn't use tech, which is crazy. Like he can do it because he's got, billion views or whatever. But I don't want to go through the trouble of teaching a new AI GM all the bad habits that I'm used to, forgetting the names of our favorite NPCs. Ryan's West, it's not until GM human versus AI. The super AI will control the matrix and our lives will be Roy, a life well lived. Uses their awesome learning tools. I've never coded really. ChatGPT taught me to set up my first Python-based alert. It'll have its own bad habits, Shambot. I'll even buy the shirt you make, paying for my own ideas. It's crazy. Well, it's a lot. It's a lot. I didn't mean to make it all like doom and gloom, but we gotta, there's some people in the chat are like, hey man, this thing could cure a lot of diseases. As long as we don't have people in certain places that prevent it. Or don't think it's a disease. It's a crazy world. It's crazy town. It's crazy times. I empathize with our younger generation because, dude, I don't know, man. I don't even have kids, thank God. But for those of you parents that do, good on you, commendable. I can not imagine the challenges you face as a parent. The irony of Sean saying thanks for the shirt idea, wearing the shirt he currently has on. I'd order one. Should we get into stuff or are you guys going to bolt? We can go through news and everything, right? Quickly. You guys want news and crowdfunding stuff? Show a lot of hearts if you do. Ryan says, I have kids and sometimes I say, whatever round earthers, they get so pissed. Sure, they went to the moon. Whatever. A couple hearts going bling bling. I know a few of you are going to drop. That's okay. News. Do news. Hearts. All right, let's get this thing going. Thank you so much for participating. It's the topic I've always I'm going to, one of these videos, maybe one of these Saturdays, I'm going to fire up AI and we're going to play a game. I mean, people are going to be like, screw that guy, dude. I don't know. Maybe it's the destruction of this channel. If it takes you 5 minutes now to go through news. Well, I try to expedite it because, some of it's good, some of it's not. All right, let's get into this stuff. But anyways, thank you so much for everybody for participating. I just figured that was a hot one to bring up. And here's the thing, not to beat this dead horse, but sometimes we're in a society where we can't talk about anything without people wanting to go and find them and, pull them out of their house and drag them down the road behind a truck. Like, can we have a discussion? Instablock. I get it. You got to do what you got to do, right? I dig it. Only Sean and kill Sean's channel. All right, let's get into the news. God bless. Booze. Ruse. All right. This is a big one. I like these, right? 2025 winners announced. This is the Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design. Talk about going from one side of the coin to the other. This is like, I think this is like the Origins Awards now. I don't know if that's what they've changed them to be now. The Academy of Adventure Gaming Arts and Design. Special honors Rick Loomis Service Award. Michael Pondsmith received this year's Rick Loomis Service Award in recognition of his outstanding dedication and lifelong contributions to the tabletop gaming community. Sustainability Award went to Endeavor Deep Sea, published by Burnt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild and designed by Carl DeVisser, Gerard Gray, and the game earned the Sustainability Award for its environmentally conscious themes and production. Hall of Fame inductees, I won't go through those. I will send you the link. 48th Origin Award winners by category. I think these would be noted, right? Co-op solo game, Marvel United, Multiverse, Cool Mini or Not. Gateway game would be Seaside, Hatchet Board Games USA. Party game, some of these, it's Origins, they throw in board games, card games, all kinds of stuff. Let me see if I can find the RPG stuff, right? What am I, a party game? I don't want a party game. And then they do just a fantastic way of formatting this, let me tell you. You know what? I see a use for AI. Shots fired! That's it. I'm out of here, this asshole. Heavy strategy game. Light strategy game, fixed constructible game, randomized constructible game, miniatures core product, miniature paints, RPG core product, Yaziba's Bed and Breakfast, Possum Creek Games. RPG supplement, Call of Cthulhu, No Time to Scream. I think so. Out of all that, I think 2 RPG things. Go over and check it out. Sorry, board, card, mini gamers, RPGs. I mean, it's in the title. So go check that out. Next one. So Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth, the official tabletop RPG, scrapped by Evil Hat. They walked away from their deal with Crystal Dynamics to produce an official Tomb Raider tabletop role-playing game based on the cited reason, creative differences. They have creative differences, whatever that means. In here, it could be, they've listed reasons that creative differences may be: tone and style, narrative direction, character portrayal, game mechanics and system, target audience, code. Ultimately, creative differences might be code for anything from cost to the way women are presented in the game. Could be anything. But Evil Hat walked away. They didn't have to. They chose to, it sounds like. So, I don't know. Somebody had mentioned something else, some other publisher that could have done the same thing, but I don't know. Whatever. So I thought that was kind of newsworthy, because let's face it, they're not making millions of dollars, and to, walk away from something that might give them some big bank. I don't know. Let's do bundles. We got what? Let's do this, right? K-Wood Monsters, more than 1,000 pages of 5th edition adversaries. So if you like 5th edition, here you go. All your books, get some of those, get some action there. Boom, bam. But even on the same page at the top, the other one, His Majesty the Worm. Anybody got this? I know some OSR folks love this thing. You could get it as a bundle. Mega Dungeon crawling fantasy role-playing game from Josh McCrowell and at Rise Up Camus. The underworld blasphemes the earth under the city at the center of the world. You and your guildmates have personal quests that compel them to step through the gate into those lightless depths. Couple there. Check that out. What else do we have from bundles? Shadowlands Raven. Did I do this one? I thought I did Raven. The Raven bundle? Did I do this one? I thought this was on. Is it still valid? Still valid. 4 days on this one. Harrigan has I Am Majesty. Got a lot of buzz. Like it's a big mover in the OSR space. I thought I went over Raven, this bundle. Maybe not. I know I did. This has to do with the Edgar Allan Poe influences. I don't know why my list is not updated. Whatever. I think that's all I had for bundles. There's other ones on drive-through that I didn't list. There's one for Owen Casey Stevens that I should probably put out there. He's had some health issues. I know there's been some bundles out there for him to help him with his health costs and things of that nature. So I should probably find it and put it out here because why am I going to mention it? Not, but whatever. Print. Paperwork and Portals, the Laundry TTRPG 2nd edition has arrived. So the Laundry, I wanted to like this until I found out it was a little more tongue-in-cheek. The Laundry Files series of British author Charles Stross brilliantly mashes up the cosmic dread of the Cthulhu mythos with the mundane absurdity of government bureaucracy. Imagine a world where magic is not a mystical force, but a dangerous applied branch of mathematics, meaning that a well-crafted spreadsheet can be just as potent as an ancient grimoire in summoning horrors from beyond. So it's out there. I only put this out there because it was like, well, it was brought up when it was crowdfunded and kind of like, and it's the 2nd edition. It's been out before, right? Other print news from the world of EN. First one, the Sutra of Pale Leaves, Twin Suns Rising, Cults of Rune Quest, the Gods of Fire and Sky. Fire in the sky. My temples are burning. Little Ozzy. Coming up, right? Live. In next week. Birmingham. Next one, Boreal Frostlands by Exalted Funeral. Hexes for a hex crawl in a bag. Frostlands, a vast northern icescape, are dotted with ruins, temples both old and new, strange sightings, and formidable beings bound in the permafrost, aching for a thaw. Q, man. The Wandering Tavern, which is for D20 Fantasy or D&D 24. Hardcover supplement. Interesting. Okay. More Prepared by Gold Bold Press for Tales of the Valiant. 30 low prep one-shot adventures for levels 1 to 15. Next one, Empire of Hatred. Space Penguin Inc., Merc Borg. Black Metal Hexcrawl Adventure. PC's trek across the blighted frontier of a holy empire reckoning with beasts, plague, and heretics. Sounds familiar? Hey, Harrigan. That's $15. The Hexed Wastes by the Lost Bay Studio for the system Eco Mofos. The booklet adventure. 2-part adventure that begins with at the deepest level of a ruined bunker as the forces of the seer Pronobus It all depends where you're from. Close in on the PC's hideout. Nasty old seer angry that PC stole his orbs. Marvel Multiverse RPG starter set. By Cool Mini or not. Not done by Marvel. Dice. System. RPGs that use dice. There we go. You can use these in RPGs that use dice. They're not 5e dice. So they got that going for them, which is pretty nice. So there you go. See you here again. Safe travels, buddy. Yeah, that D4 is a... Well, they say that D4 doesn't puncture your foot like the classic D4. It's a friendlier foot D4. Get into crowdfunding, you guys, and get you out of here. Oh, fantastic. I didn't bookmark the crowdfunding. Well, I'm sure I can find a way to get it to come up. I must have fell asleep at the computer while I was prepping. Probably bookmarked it incorrectly. These are ones in the last throes of their campaign, so you got to get on them or do post pledge if allowed. First one, Cyber Plus Punk Overlord. No, Overload, Sean, from MythWorks. It's on Kickstarter, $47K. Funded, $40. So if you like Cyberpunk. Defy the Gods for PBTA, Powered by the Apocalypse. Rulebook, Defy the Gods, Slay the Tyrants, and Find Love, all in TTRPG. Inspired by Mesopotamia. The setting is a fantasy version, Conan, Clash of the Titans, and Princess Mononoke. This game offers queer love and resistance to sword and sorcery roleplay. $29K, funded. Next one, Martial Artistry, a compendium of combat for 5e games. From Steampunkette. Backer kit. How much you want to bet this is funded? It's got the 5e moniker on it, man. It's going to be funded. Oh, it's coming up short, but still has 17 days. So it'll fund. It's like $260 away. Next one, Book of Wirums from Claude Curio, System Neutral RPG Zine, $6,000 for an RPG zine. The most popular pledge is $20. Yeah. I think the way to go is like small, fairly priced, little, money. Next one, Shadowdark, Treasures from the Dark, from Jeff Stevens Games. $7 for the PDF of the book. No AI statement. Do not utilize AI-generated art, text, or images. I support the human creators. There you go. It's funded. The goal is $760. It's at $3,000. Boom. Money. Next one, Game Toppers 5.0 Game Table System. Game mats and accessories. Most popular pledge, $15 to gain access to the post-Kickstarter Pledge Manager. Do you have a gaming table but don't have the pool table banks? How's that a typo? Pool table banks? I would understand if it was like Vool, because it's right next to the C on a keyboard. Oversized mat, hanging dice trays, and attached cup holders. Game Toppers offers an option to cover your dinner table with a professional-looking game top, something that can be added and broken down as needed. Starting at $400 for a 30 foot by 3 foot, and all going all the way up to $900. Look at that funding. $119K. Bam, boom, bang. Next one, Tsunami Con. That's Wichita's premier tabletop gaming convention. $50 for a 3-day pass. Getting that off the ground. That is going to come up way short. 1 week to go. Halfway funded. Problem with that is you got to get all the people in that area to kind of kick in. And if you don't, you're going to come up short. So it's very regional, right? Like, what do I got? Like, I got no skin in Tsunami Con. So unfortunate, but I don't think that's going to make it. So there you go. That's all I got for crowdfunding. Did I put it in there? I'll do it again, just in case. All right. Holy cow, look at everything in the chat since I stepped out. Anything I need to address? People bailing. I got a video coming out, folks. I missed the Thursday deadline, and it's because of the amount of editing that I'm doing. I don't know if you guys will like it. Some of my videos are falling pretty flat, and, I get it. It's okay. I do it also for the creative, cuts and things and I don't know. That doesn't always get you the mileage you want, but I got one coming out where I turn the game over to the players. They come up with the campaign arc. So you'll see Jet, Axe, and Jabo make feature. You'll see them make that video. I'm hoping to get it out today. I hate thumbnails, by the way, just so you know. Anyways, I want to thank all these fine individuals for contributing here on the YouTubes as well as my Patreon. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate your donation each and every month. Thank you. Thank you for being here and showing up, keeping me company, contributing to a constructive discussion. Very much appreciated. Sometimes, as people, we gotta talk about stuff that maybe, I don't know if I want to talk about this. It's a little controversial. If we don't talk about it, where's it go? I don't know. So yes, let the creative juices flow. Support artists. I will say that with all the AI discussion, support artists, right? Do the right thing. Be positive force. Tabletop RPG hobby. And again, hopefully the video will be over here after this is done. It'll be my latest one, but hopefully I'll get this new one up today yet after the stream. So check that out if you would be so kind. And you know what? If you don't like it, that's all right. I get it. Leave a poop emoji in the comments. That's a good sign. Do me a favor. If you don't like a video that you watch, put a poop emoji in the comments. I will accept that. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Go game. Have some fun. I know I'm going to. We'll talk to you later. See you on the next one, 8 a.m. Central Time next week, Saturdays, right here, live. See ya.